For this project, I am using a 4.25 millimeter hook, and I used about 2 skeins of yarn. You're gonna start off with a slip knot and then make a chain of 10. Once you have your 10 chains, you're gonna chain an additional chain, which will give you an 11 chains, and then half double crochet into the second chain from the hook, and then half double crochet into each chain until you reach the end. Alright, and here's what it looks like once you reach the end. Now you're going to chain 1 and then turn your work. And from here you're going to half double crochet into the back loop of the first stitch. So that will be this loop right here, but you're going to go into the first one. So you're going to half double crochet into the back loop of the first stitch, and then half double crochet into the back loop of each stitch all the way until you reach the end. Alright, and once you reach the end, you're going to chain 1 and turn and continue going only into the back loop of each stitch. And you're going to go in with a half double crochet. So I finished my 3rd row, and this is how the pattern is coming out. You want to continue this pattern until the width of the band matches your waist width stretch. So the band stretched is the same length as the width of your waist. Keep in mind, if you do have wider hips, you may have to make your band wider because it has to go over your hips to pull it onto your waist. And so after you have your desired width, you're going to single crochet both ends of the band together and then sit it to the side. Okay guys, so about 7 or 8 rows in on the rim of my skirt, I realized I wasn't recording. So for the rim of my skirt, I chained 155 chains. Just the chain length was enough to wrap around my waist. And then I slip stitched both ends together and chain 1, and then half double crocheted 155 half double crochets all the way around. When I met that chain 1 space, I slip stitched into the chain 1 space and then chained 1. So I'm going to demonstrate here. So yeah, after having your desired chain length, you're going to slip stitch it together, and then you're going to chain 1 and then begin half double crocheting around. And once you reach that chain 1 stitch again, you're going to slip stitch on both sides together and then chain 1 and turn. And that's pretty much the pattern for the first part of the rim of your skirt. So I'm finishing up a row, and once I reach that chain 1, I'm going to slip stitch into that chain 1 to join both sides. And then remove my stitch marker. The stitch marker I use to keep track of where I'm at. It's much easier to do it that way. So once I slip stitch, I'm going to chain 1 to start a new row. Place my stitch marker back in there so I don't lose track. And then turn my work and then half double crochet all the way back around until I reach that chain 1 space that I'm going to slip stitch into, and then chain 1 to start a new row and turn. So I'm just about done with the rim of my skirt. Now I'm gonna go ahead and work on my slit. A pro tip I have is whenever you're making an item, especially if it's for yourself, try it on throughout the making of it so you can keep making sure it fits your body the way you want it to, and the hem is where you would like it to stop, or anything like that. All right, Once you have the length of your skirt where you want it, mark off where you want your slit to be. Okay, so wherever you marked off where you want your slit to be, that is where you're going to stop. So you're going to continue half double crocheting around, and when you reach that stitch marker or that place where you want your slit, you stop, you tie off your yarn, skip that stitch, reattach your yarn to the next stitch, and then continue half double crocheting to that back stitch. Then once you reach that second to last stitch at the back, you're going to decrease by half double crocheting the last 2 stitches together. This sounds like a lot, but I'm going to show you guys right now. So I'm coming up on that stitch marker. So I have one half double crochet left. I'm going to half double crochet and then tie off my yarn and cut. And then I'm going to reattach my yarn to the other side of that stitch marker. And I know these last few steps seem like a lot, but guys, it is very, very simple. So yeah, once you get that yarn attached, you're gonna half double crochet into that same stitch you just attached the yarn to, and then continue half double crocheting all the way around. I'm coming up on the last 2 stitches in this row, and remember, we're doing a decrease. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Do not half double crochet yet. Yarn over, pull through, and yeah, getting a little complicated here. And then I'm gonna pull through all of the loops to do my decrease. And then you're just gonna slip stitch in that chain space and then chain 1 and turn. So guys, it's pretty much the same as the beginning pattern. It's just that when you reach that slit space, you're going to fasten off your yarn and then reattach to the other side, and then continue half double crocheting around, and then just remember to decrease once you reach that chain space. So again, after you chain 1 and turn, you're gonna half double crochet all the way around. Once you reach that last stitch, you're gonna fasten off and then reattach to this side, and then half double crochet all the way back here. And when you reach that second to last stitch, you're gonna begin your decrease. So I'm coming up on that orange stitch marker again, which means I'm coming up on my slit. And so after the last stitch, after the last half double crochet, I'm going to tie off my yarn and then reattach it to the other side. And another pro tip I have, guys, is to weave in your loose strands as you work, if you can, you know, if it's possible. Like with this type of pattern, I'm gonna have a lot of loose strands right here, and instead of waiting till the end to weave in my loose strands, I'm going to weave them in as I go. Okay, and this is how my skirt looks after like 4 or 5 rows of my slit. And I want to show you guys the back too. The importance of turning after you chain 1 is so that you keep a straight line instead of like a curvy warped line or whatever. Okay, and now I'm about to begin my final row. So I'm just gonna, you know, chain 1 up, turn, half double crochet all the way around, and when I reach that last stitch, I'm going to single crochet on the inside of my slit and up the other side, and then continue my half double crochet all the way around. Y'all, I had no type of luck trying to record this for y'all, but I tried my best. So here I am single crocheting up the inside of my slit. I've already single crocheted down the other side, so now I'm just single crocheting back up. And once I reach that top stitch, that top first half double crochet stitch, I'm going to continue half double crocheting around until I get to the middle, where I'm going to you know, slip stitch the sides together. And then, you know, I don't think I should chain one. I'm gonna fasten off. Like, this project was a struggle for me to record. Like, my camera kept going in and out of focus, my camera kept not recording, my camera kept dying. But now I'm at that top half double crochet, so I'm gonna half double crochet into that stitch. Look, now it's okay, now it's not clear anymore. But yeah, and then what I also said about weaving your loose ends into it, that's what I'm doing now. I have the loose ends sitting on top of the stitches, and I'm just half double crocheting around it to tuck it in. Now we're reaching the end. You do not have to decrease here. I mean, if you want to, you can, but you don't have to. And then once you, after that last half double crochet, you're gonna slip stitch together and then fasten off. Okay guys, so my camera died, but okay, all that's left to do is basically just stitch these two together, and it's gonna be fairly easy for me because I did 55 rows of my band, and then I just doubled that for the rim of my skirt, so I already know each row should be stitched to 2 stitches, so that's how I'm gonna remember. And then I'm just gonna line up this middle part with this middle part, and then line up this with this, line up this with this, line up this with this, and then just stitch it around. You can use a tapestry needle, or you can just single crochet it together, and that's basically what I'm gonna do. So just like you're sewing, I'm gonna fold this inside out and then wrap it around this and then stitch it together like this way, you know, like just as if you were sewing. So when you fold it over, alright, yeah, like I was saying, like when you stitch it over, when you pull it over, there's gonna be like this seamless line, you know, just like when you're sewing. So yep, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll be back to show you guys the end result. Okay, so this is what I meant by I'm gonna fold it over so that, okay, the skirt is right side out and the band is inside out, because this is the inside of the band, this is the outside of the band. So I folded the band over the skirt, and then I'm going to attach my yarn here and then single crochet around to stitch them together. And when you flip the band over, it should look like that. And again, I lined up the middle part of my band with the middle part of my skirt, and I just tied it together by the loose ends, which I'm going to hide when I'm going to weave in when I single crochet around. You see, mark them together, mark them together, mark them together, making it easier for me. And I'll be back to show you guys the end result. And ta-da! So this is the end result of my skirt. I cannot wait to make more in like different colors. I am so in love with it.